Okay, so you've set up your shot, you got a large softbox on one side, a little fill light, a little background light, you're all set. But there is one more light that might just make your video just a little bit better, and that's a hair light. Okay, so it's called a hair light or rim light or sometimes a kicker, but it's all designed to do about the same thing, and that is add a little color to separate you from the background, to make you look a little more three-dimensional. Now at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you my go-to hair light, but more importantly, I'm going to explain what makes a great hair light so you can choose one for yourself. Now from watching movies, you've probably already seen why a hair light is so important, but for those of you that may have missed that, let me show you a few examples. Now here's a still from Top Gun Mavericks, and we see a very harsh light coming in from the side, but you also see a light over here rimming his shoulder. Here's another one where you see a harsh light all the way around his face. Pretty much every time you see a movie star, you're going to see a rim light. And you also see another little rim light right here, bringing in a little bit of a different color. Again, it's the movie star look. Sometimes the rim light is a little more subtle, sometimes it's a little over the top. You can see in this shot from the Fabelmans, they're motivating a red light to the side of the actor. Going back to my favorite all-time movie, When Harry Met Sally, look at that rim light. A more modern example is with The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, beautifully shot by the way. Now I hope you can see that hair and rim lights are used quite a bit, but there is a lot of creativity in how they are used. Here's a shot from Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I think you can see that a hair or a rim light is pretty universal. So what light should you use as a hair or rim light? Well, the good news is you can use practically any light. But there are lights that are better suited to the task than others. And I think there are 5 things that you should consider when picking a rim light. First, the size. Now a rim light is often a fairly harsh light, so you can use a single source chip on board light like this with just simply a reflector. In fact, this is an excellent choice if you're shooting from a long way away because, well, it can throw across a room. But if you're closer, you're going to probably want to put on some kind of modifier so that you can control the light a little bit better. And when you do that, well, now you've got a light that is a lot harder to hide from the camera. And that's where these small lights come in, because hiding from the camera is their superpower. So here in the studio, a large light like this would be difficult to hide, but a little tube light, well, that's easy. Oh, and by the way, you probably already heard of motivated lighting, and that's where the rim light comes in on the side where there's already another light. And that brings me to my next consideration, and that is color. Now a bicolored light can give you a warm white light or a very cold white light or something in between. And this is pretty much what you need 95% of the time, but sometimes you want some color. That's where an RGB WW light comes in, because you can match pretty much anything. Next, you're going to want to consider how easy is it for you to control your hair light. Now a COB light with a reflector is probably going to spread more light than you want, and it's going to be difficult to control or flag off. One of my favorite lights, the Aputure LS60X, has these great little barn doors on here that allows you to cut that spill down quite a bit. Now you don't see barn doors on a regular COB light because frankly they don't flag off very well. It's something that a lot of people don't tell you. In fact, here, let me show you. Okay, so now I have the Amaran 200X here, and I'm going to use this foam board, and I'm just going to flag it off here over the reflector, and you can see, well, it's not going to really flag off because it has that hot spot in the middle. If I take it out here a little ways and I try to flag it off, well, you can see, well, yeah, see that line there? Yeah, it's not really going to flag off very well until you get kind of right, well, almost to the wall, really. Over here on the LS60, it's not going to have that problem because there's a glass element focusing the light. And that's why this can have barn doors that can go and really just kind of cut the light right in here however you would like it. Yeah, that's why the LS60 comes with barn doors and the Amaran 200X does not. Now controlling a tube light is usually done with an EggCrate like this one that comes with the MT Pro. And it's great for just feathering in exactly how much light you want on your subject. And not to be outdone, the new MC Pro comes with this little EggCrate, which magnetically goes on and really controls the beam angle as well. Again, an excellent choice. Fourth, you should consider the weight of the light, because it's often going to be hanging over the subject's head. And the heavier it is, well, the bigger stand you're going to need and the more risk to injury. Now, I don't place it over my head because I don't have a lot of hair up here, and so I put the rim light or hair light off to the side because, well, I'm an old man, and, well, I think I've made my point. We'll just move on. So by now you might be guessing that these are my recommended hair lights. And while they are fantastic and I have used them as hair lights, it's not my favorite hair light. That belongs to another light that I'll discuss in the next category, and that's brightness. Now, often a hair light is subtle, but it can actually be very harsh, and we saw that in some examples previously. This 2-foot tube light from Amaran, the old one, not the new pixel tube light, it sells for $200, and it is the brightest tube on the market. At least it was when it came out last year. And I absolutely love this light. It's incredibly bright, and it, of course, is RGBWW, so it can make any color. This is the light that I use in my studio, and I love it so much that I actually bought another one. And it sits right over there with the EggCrate attachment on it. And this is the one that I take out. Now, the downside of this light is that it doesn't have an internal battery. So when you unplug it, well, that's what you got. Now, the battery is a lot heavier than the light, so I usually just use the light and plug it in. It's really not hard to set up. I'll show you the difference between the brightness of this tube and the MT Pro. To make the test fair, I'm going to blacken out a foot of this tube to make them all the same size. Okay, comparing the two lights, it's clear that just using even half of the P2C, it is still brighter than the MT Pro. Oh, and please do not put gaff tape over your tube light. This thing got really hot and I had to let it cool for an hour. Now that you've seen how bright the T2T is, I think you can see why it's my favorite light. But you're going to need this EggCrate accessory to go with it. So that's another $45. Now, if that's too much for you to spend right now, I'm going to suggest you buy the MT Pro, because it's only $200 and it comes with the EggCrate. And when you trade up later to a different hair light, where you're going to find a lot of other uses for this light. And if you want to know what those uses are, well, just click on the next video right over there. See what I did there? Yeah, I know.